Welcome back to another segment of Behind the Scenes of the Waltons. Today I'm going to be taking up more viewer questions in another segment of Ask Judy. This comment and question is from Brian Pyle, who said, I've been rewatching the series, originally seeing it when it originally aired back in the 1970s. We never missed an episode. I just finished watching the Grandpa's Heart Attack episode, which got me thinking about Will Geer. I'm glad his Theatricum Botanicum into Panga Canyon survived the wildfires. Google Maps have been updated, which shows just how far the devastation reached. I was wondering if you or any of the Waltons cast ever got to perform at Theatricum Botanicum. Any history or information would be greatly appreciated. Well, thank you, Brian. I'm not sure. Of course, Will performed there. And I think there were other guest actors that performed there. I don't know that any of the regular cast ever did any shows at Will's Theater. We did some fundraisers there, so we went and attended things, and we had a whole sort of fundraiser for the theater we had up there one time. And I also did a concert as a fundraiser. Besides the main stage there, they have another stage that's under the stars, under the oaks, I think it's called. And I went and did sort of my cabaret show there. And that was, it's dusk, it's beautiful out. And anyway, I had a wonderful time, and it was an honor to get a chance to perform at Will's Theater. This next is sort of an observation from Joel Block, who was talking about Florida and the Waltons, which kind of caught my attention. He said that there were all these connections between the Waltons and Florida. For instance, Callie Mae in The Torch, who bought the Dewdrop Inn, said she'd worked in places like the Dewdrop Inn from Florida and back.
I worked in joints like this from here to Florida and back.
Then Jim Bob and his orphaned friend were planning to go to Florida and fly planes.
Well, why don't you come along?
Where?
We'll go to Florida. There are all kinds of new airfields down there.
Then Mr. Clarence Johnson closed his paper in Jefferson County and sold his old printing press to John Boy and moved to Florida.
I feel the need to get back to my own roots. It's a little town in Florida.
Mary Ellen went to Florida to see her husband, Kurt Willard, when we thought he was dead from the attack in Pearl Harbor.
You got Mary Ellen on the bus yet?
She just left.
Can you imagine that, running off to Florida on our wedding day?
Harley said he was born in Florida in the episode where he was hiding his past as a prison escapee in The Outrage.
Harley was born in Florida. He grew up in Simpson County. He served during the war. He wandered around during the Depression. He come here. He married Verdi. You know Harley.
In The Lie, where Ben helps Nancy Madden sneak off with John Boy's car, and whose mother was stopping in Charlottesville on the way to Florida.
She's living in Charlottesville?
She's just stopping over there on the way to Florida.
And then in the last episode, The Revel, when Aaron comes to New York to surprise John Boy, who was evicted from his apartment, his former landlady responds, "He could be in Florida for all I know."
Well, where is he? Did he leave a forwarding address?
Girl, he could be in Florida for all I know.
So you might say, what is this connection between the Waltons and Florida? And my response would be, I have absolutely no idea. Perhaps it was a close enough state that it was just like picking something. I have no idea, but what an interesting observation. Thank you for sharing that. All right, I'm going to struggle with this one. This is from Legihen Music Label. Best I could come up with. Anyway, you were saying, were there certain quotas how many main and subplots each character would have in a season? Example, we have 24 episodes, so John Boy will have 20 main plots and 5 subplots. Olivia will have that, John that, each of the kids one subplot. Also, did they arrange the episodes in a season so they would not have episodes with the focus on the same character in a row? I think they did try to spread storylines around, so how that broke down and whether as they were laying out the season, there was thought from the producers or from Earl Hamner about making sure that there were storylines that focused on each of the characters, with, of course, when John Boy was there, that he would always have an active part in either the main plot or the subplot, or possibly both. So yes, having a main plot and a subplot did give an opportunity in every episode for at least two of the characters to be really featured. And sometimes the subplot might be grandma and grandpa. So that kind of, like in the episode The House, it sort of focused on both of them. And then the subplot could be about, something else, the children, whatever. And then, of course, there were episodes later on, once John Boy was gone and once Olivia was gone, where we also focused on Ike and Cora Beth. We had the one where Ike had a heart attack, or the one where Cora Beth had a drinking problem. So, it sort of spread around in those ways as well. Or The Hero, where it was sort of John Boy's main plot with Sheriff Bridges. So I think they did just try to, throw it around and highlight everyone, which we really appreciated. A lot of times in earlier shows where there were children, the children weren't all that featured. They were never given their own episodes. It was really sort of the adults, and the children were always sort of just peripheral. But we appreciated that they featured us at times. And so how that was laid out, I don't know, but I always had that same feeling that everybody got some featured time in each season. This question is from Lori Solanka, who wished me a happy birthday. Thank you. So obviously this comment came in a little closer to when my birthday episode was. But she was saying, I'm wondering if you could have been on another show, a comedy police show, which one and why? Oh, that one's really tough, because I frequently would watch shows and really enjoy the show, or feel like it was the type of show I would enjoy being a part of, or I'd see a character in a show and think, oh, I would have loved to play that character. I mean, going back to shows like MASH, what a great show. That would have been a great show to be a part of, because I thought it was really well done. Sometimes I liked some of the sort of military shows. I liked China Beach. And some of the characters that Dana Delaney played. She also did another one later where she was sort of, I don't know if she was like a colonel or what she was, but she was some ranked officer who was in charge of a particular branch. And so I liked those sort of strong women, or I don't know that I was as much interested in the medical shows, possibly because, I played a nurse, so I'd kind of done that. I also liked some of the lawyer shows, because I also, a number of times in guest star parts that I did on other shows, I played lawyers. So watching something like The Good Wife, or, some of the roles that Christine Baranski did, I thought, oh, I could see doing those types of roles. Westerns, I would have loved to have done a Western because of my love of horses. So something where I was, on a ranch and got to ride a horse or something. As I watched some of the newer shows that Taylor Sheridan's been doing, Yellowstone or 1923 or 1883 or whatever they are. Anyway, I've enjoyed those and the whole sort of ranch and horse aspect of them, and thought, oh, that would be a lot of fun. And I also think that they're well written and the characters are really interesting. So I think those are the types of things that appeal to me in terms of potentially doing other shows. So who knows what'll come up in the future. Thank you for joining me for this segment of Ask Judy. If you're enjoying these segments and have not yet subscribed, please do. If you'd like to know when I'm going to be posting, hit that notification bell. I will see you next time for more behind the scenes of the Waltons and more Ask Judy. Thanks for watching.